when we just think abstractly about bettering ourselves or creating something that will or is supposed to better our lives, something like making a business, something like progressing our current business, or creating anything that's going to have massive potential upsides, I think there's a lot of conflict in the mind between, is this something I can actually do? Even if you really, really want to do something, if you really want to launch your business and you have an idea or you have a solution to a big problem that you think everyone faces, a lot of it comes down to, in my experience, and what I can reflect on is, even though you really want to do something and you can definitely see the upsides to what you do and what your idea is, I think deep, deep down, unless you were encouraged by someone that you know, maybe a parent or a close friend or someone like a partner who's always encouraging you to pursue your goals or pursue your dreams, whatever you want to call it, whatever cliche you want to use, you know, it's very hard to just believe in yourself and start something from scratch. And when I say that, it doesn't mean it's like actually hard to do that. It's really easy to do anything. You can launch an online shop in just like barely an hour. Even now, when we've got AI to help us with all these things and we don't even have to think for ourselves, we don't have to go through that stage of maybe back in the day where if you just didn't know someone who knew how to code, you would never ever even consider the option of an online shop or any kind of selling platform, because you don't have that knowledge at the time, and that knowledge is really hard to learn. Like learning to code, for example, if you've ever tried it, I'm assuming that people that are watching this have tried something like that. It's something where I think unless you're surrounded by people that are doing the same thing, or you know, it's something like the gym. If you are brought up in a household where it's not even spoken about the gym, or maybe it's even scorned, you know, people that are fit and healthy, or perhaps take fitness quite seriously, if that is discouraged by your parents or whoever that you kind of associate with, whether it's friends, whether it's school people, it could be one teacher once upon a time that discouraged you or made a joke, and in your developing brain back then you've then associated that with people are going to look at me funny, or it's going to be cringe, or it's going to be a bit too or a bit too out there for someone like you, right? Someone like me. Like, how could I ever do this? It's no one I know has ever done it. No one I know has ever succeeded. Or even if you know someone that's failed at something, perhaps it's a parent, perhaps they tried something and it went terribly for them. And I think we can learn to associate trying with failing. Or our brain thinks, well, if someone I look up to and admire can't manage it, who am I to give it a go? But I think a massive part of it is actually having that faith in yourself to really give something a go and know that there's no guaranteed path. And I think part of that comes into it is because there's no guaranteed path, there's no guaranteed success. It's something that you don't even want to try because you just don't see the possibilities. And as soon as you hit the first hurdle, you throw in the towel and you give up because, again, all those doubts come back in and you think, who am I to even try? I should just get a generic job. I should just follow the same path as everyone else because it's tried and tested. So then you can consider the aspect of risk. because a lot of the time we think that having a stable job is not risky and having a steady income is not risky. But I would argue staying in a steady job is risky, because you can get kind of not even comfortable, but just it kind of keeps you afloat enough to keep you with a regular income and some sort of feeling of stability where you think, I really don't want to ever deviate from this, because if I do, then I don't know what the future holds. I don't think it will be any more successful than the job I'm in. I should just stick on the path that I'm on and just keep going down it. That's the safe option. That's the only option, actually. But it actually is as simple as just starting. I think if you look at anyone who's quite successful, it's very rare that they ever knew what the hell they were doing. You just find that whether it's the way they were brought up or an experience they had, or perhaps they were never told that they couldn't, they were never warned against trying, and so they never had that barrier to try. Or one idea just happened to be a bit of luck, or they started the right business at the right time, they learnt the right skill at the right time that just so happened to be interesting to them, and then became a very valuable skill in the next 10 years or so. So when it comes to like trying something new, I think that ties into why we often really get caught up in bad habits, because it's a hiding mechanism. It's a way to not face that pain of trying, because your mind is already assuming that it's over before you've even had a go. So I don't know, this is more like, I want this to be encouraging, as in I've tried crazy things and things that I just thought, well, let's just see what happens. And every time that I don't let fear stop me, every time that I think this will probably not work, and you just do it anyway, it's rare that it doesn't work. And you know, and maybe there's something there in terms of just trying, as in, you know, I think there's that cliche of when you see some, maybe like a successful athlete, and they, you know, they are so, it's almost like a level of delusion, that they are so hyper fixated on the fact that they are the best of the best. I don't think it's a coincidence that you get these people that think they're the best of the best and just so happen to fall into the category of excellence. It's that cliche image that I was talking about is when you hear the quote of, I've tried and failed, or rather I've failed more times than you've ever tried. And that is really something that I'm learning is a huge part of any kind of success, any kind of change that you want to do, is just try and try and try and try. Even if it feels hopeless, you just keep going and do it again and do it again and do it again. If you've not done something 100 times, I don't think you've got enough evidence to say what works and what doesn't. I'm not saying it's easy to just push through that, but there's such plentiful reward on the other side of that. Yeah, it is fear, isn't it? It's that fear of, it's not even a fear of failure, it's a fear of getting into something where you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you're probably never going to know what you're doing until you're really far down the road in something and really committed to it. The best times that I've been successful in my life is when you just jump in, and easier said than done, like I say, but you just do something and you do it again and you do it again, and no matter how many times it stings, it really hurts when you fail or make a mistake, and you just do it again anyway. It just seems like the only way you succeed. I think the people that say, here's the roadmap to success, how many times did they not find that roadmap? They wouldn't be providing the roadmap if they hadn't learned how to navigate. You sort of imagine like a ping pong against two walls, or going through a maze or something, and every time you go forward, you hit a wall, and then you have to go turn right or left. Perhaps there's many options. You can go right or left. You don't know which way it is, and I'm talking about that abstractly, obviously, in terms of you can go left and you could promote one thing, or you can go right and completely try something different. But then eventually you figure it out. You know for next time what you did wrong last time. You get quicker. You get more efficient. Something that took you weeks now takes you hours, even half an hour. You've learned the mistake, you've moved on from it, and you've made that successful path for yourself. And I think that's what a lot of success boils down to. It's just try, make mistakes. It's a cliche, obviously, but I think the key point is to get over the fear. And I don't mean get over it as in like keep reflecting and thinking about how do I get over this fear. It's just do it, even if you're absolutely shitting yourself, and do it anyway. Don't try and wait for the fear to go. It's never going to go. You just carry on. You just do it. And people might laugh at you. People might call you cringe. Even making these videos, like, I've only received positive comments so far, which is nice, but you expect bad comments, which is kind of ironic, and that kind of reiterates my point of we expect to fail, we expect it to be horrible and difficult, and we don't know what we're doing, and we're going to make loads of mistakes, and it's like, yeah, that's just how it is. It's like when you learn maths or something and you try and you get the wrong answer, right? No one just gets the right answer straight away unless they've got foundational knowledge that they can build from. It's like you're never going to know, you won't know decimals until you know fractions, or that you can't compare them. You won't know that an eighth is 0.125 unless you've learnt both. But at one point you didn't know either of those things. You had to learn one to learn the other, and then that's your stepping stone, that's your foundation, then you go from there. And I think that's like anything that I tried, anything that I've succeeded in. You fail, and then you finally get that little breakthrough moment, and something that seemed impossible and seemed like it would never work, and you like give up completely, and in some part of you thinks, you know what, I'll give it one more little shot, and then it clicks. That's it. It works. And then we go from there, right? So I want this to be more of an encouraging one, as well as a reflection on what I've done. And you just try again. If you haven't failed many times, that's just part of it. But the whole point is just keep going, even if you're absolutely shitting yourself and you think there's no way this will work. Maybe it will. Maybe this is the day that it actually does. So try.